Jury selection begins once again in the Ross Harris hot car death trial. He's the Cobb County father accused of intentionally locking his son in a hot car to die. The trial is now taking place in Brunswick after a judge found it was impossible to find an impartial jury in Cobb County. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez is following this story for the Today Show. He's live in Brunswick, Georgia this morning. Gabe, good morning. I guess the nation will be watching this one.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Vinny. Good morning. As you mentioned, because of the pretrial publicity, the judge in this case decided to move this case that riveted the nation, decided to move it from Cobb County down here to Brunswick, Georgia. Now, we've been following it for more than 2 years, and as you know, Justin Ross Harris is accused of murdering his young son, Cooper, by leaving him inside that sweltering SUV. Now, since the beginning, Harris has maintained his innocence. His lawyer says that this was all just a tragic accident. But, of course, prosecutors say that Harris was leading a double life and that he was exchanging sexually explicit text messages with 6 women while his son lay dying in that sweltering car. Now, a key witness in this case could be now Harris's ex-wife, Leanna Taylor. She sought a divorce earlier this year and was granted, but her lawyer tells NBC News that she still believes that this was an accident. This trial is expected to last up to 6 weeks, and a lot of people will be watching around the country, and especially in Metro Atlanta. Vinny?
All right, thanks so much, Gabe. As we get ready for this big trial, let's bring in our legal dream team. Criminal defense attorney Darrell Cohn with us this morning. Great to see you, Darrell.
Good morning.
Lawrence Zimmerman, who represents Ross Harris's ex-wife, Leanna Taylor.
Good morning.
Great to see you, Lawrence. Lawrence, let me start with you. How does moving this case from Cobb County to Brunswick help the defense, help Ross Harris, or does it?
Well, it obviously helps Mr. Harris because they moved it out of a county that the coverage, while it's intensely followed nationally, in Cobb County it's really intense. Most people know a lot about it. People work at that Home Depot office. They know the area. So in Brunswick, it's going to be a little bit different. We'll find out today as jury selection starts how much information they know down there.
Now, let's talk a little bit about jury selection, Darrell. Who doesn't the prosecution want on this jury?
They don't want people who do not have kids. They do not want people who have a stake. They do not want grandparents. In other words, they don't want most anybody.
Lawrence, do men and women, do you think male, female jurors will see this case differently?
Yeah, I think a lot of women who are mothers have a little bit more of an intense feeling about they would never leave their child in a car and can't imagine it. And men, maybe. We just saw a firefighter 2 days ago in Florida, left his son in a hot car, thought he dropped him off, dropped the daughter off and forgot, went back home. Time this year that's happened. So there's a difference. I think men see it where it could definitely happen. I think women see it a little bit differently.
Now, another big issue in this case is the sexting. And what sort of an impact do you think that's going to have, that evidence or alleged evidence against Ross Harris in Glynn County down in Brunswick, and as it relates to the charges of murder?
Well, I think it's just another nail in the coffin, if you will, in the prosecution's case. I personally don't see it as having a major effect, but I think it has an effect because it shows he's not a good guy. And the prosecution is trying to show by piece that he isn't a good guy, but that he was not.
All right. Ross Harris, does he have to testify?
Can I add to that?
Sure, you can.
I think it's grave error that the court is allowing that texting to come in. It has nothing to do with the case, doesn't show motivation. It's a problem for the defense, and I think it's going to create potentially a problem for the state if they convict him.
If they convict on appeal. Okay, how about Ross Harris? Is he going to testify?
I think he has to.
He has to? All right. Now, Leanna Taylor, your client, Lawrence, the ex-wife, the now ex-wife of Ross Harris, is she going to be inside the courtroom watching this whole case?
No, she's not going to be there, but she'll be called to testify by the state and the defense.
By both?
My understanding.
Wow. So, what sort of an impact do you think her testimony has in this whole thing, Darrell?
2 words. It depends. I think if she turns and decides that she's going to testify for the state and says that my husband was sexting, says that my husband was a bad father, it could be devastating. If, on the other hand, she stands the way she has stood and said, no, he didn't do that, our child died, it was terrible, but I like my husband, ex-husband now, I want to know that everything's going to be okay, and it's a tragedy. In that case, it's not going to be devastating. It can help it.
And she still believes that he was a good father, right?
She's never going to come in and testify that he was a bad father. She's always been unwavering that he was a good dad. Whatever happened in their personal, between them as far as their marriage is one thing. Him being a father, she never wavered her support about that.
All right, great job, guys. We'll be seeing a lot of you, too, during the course of this trial. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, the most in-depth and insightful coverage of this trial will be on 11alive.com once opening statements begin on October 3rd. We'll be streaming live every day beginning at 8:30. I'll host the coverage with my legal dream team and other experts. Then on 11 Alive every day at 12:30, we'll have a midday special to show you the big moments and provide the expert analysis you'll only get on 11 Alive.
All right, good enough.